Salutes. About to start up here in a little bit, bro. Turn this music down. Hey, let's see what we got here today. Some more decoding. It's all about the knowledge. It's all about understanding. Hope I don't rub too many people the wrong way. But if I do, hey, sorry for you. All right. Let's see what we got here. Of course, for some reason, I feel like this is what I'm supposed to do now. For some reason. Now, I know what the reason is. Tired of motherfuckers talking to me about the Bible. This struck a nerve in me. Tired of motherfuckers talking to me about the Bible, telling me what they think it means, and then when I go back and read the shit, I don't see none of that shit they talking about. I don't understand none of that shit they saying. It ain't coming. The same meaning ain't coming to me like it came to them. So I ask motherfuckers where they getting their information from. Reading the Bible. Prefects. What they call it? Precept on top of precept. I'm like, man, get the fuck out of here, bro. You guys what are you using to interpret this book? This is a book that was written so many times, so many ways. They got so many translations of this book. It's like a textbook that's been rewritten over and over and over again. That's what I think. And when you're reading textbooks and you don't know what a word means in it, what do? You look it up in the dictionary. If you want to know how the word is used, you look it up in the thesaurus. You know, if you want to find out more shit about the word, you look up in the encyclopedia. And if you want to find out the origin, the sound, how it was used back in the day, you look it up in etymology. So that's what I'm doing. I'm looking this shit up in etymology, and I'm finding some weird shit in the scriptures. This shit is not interpreted the right way. These people are talking about entities, people, locations, and just overall language in the Bible, but they're not defining any of this shit. None of it. If I tell you that the word cow means more than the animal, and you ask me, how do you know this? And I tell you precepts on top of precepts, you're gonna be looking at me like, man, unless you one of them people that just so fucking gullible and you listen to anything that people say, and if it sounds good, you don't even take it up on yourself to go and look into it. I got a buddy who he's just like that. He doesn't question anything. And the shit that he does question, you know, yeah, it's obvious. You should be questioning it. But the shit that you need to question as well is stuff that's taught to you. Everybody is teaching somebody something. And if you don't have a reference, that way, if I want to teach it to somebody, I won't sound like a dumbass doing it. And the reference is etymology in everything. In everything. Words have multiple meanings. They do multiple things. And if you don't understand what the word might mean in a second term, third term, then you need to look that shit up, because I guarantee you these people are telling you these stories based off of what they learned, and this information has different meanings. It's like back in the day when we used to get those decoder rings in the fucking cereal box. After I got my decoder ring in the cereal box when I was a kid, every time I looked at a cereal box, I was decoding it, even if it wasn't the brand that I bought it, that I got the decoder ring from. And I found out, man, every one of these messages that they put out have double, triple, sometimes quadruple meanings. So this is not a popular subject. I know that. But I'm going to keep putting it out. And people going to catch on. Just like they caught on to this bullshit that was going on not too long ago. So, just bear with me. If not, move on. It ain't going to hurt me. The information is out there. It's out in the ethers. So they be saying. But it's out there. And the subconscious mind picks it up. So it doesn't matter if you watch 1 second, 1 minute, or 1 hour of what I'm doing. It's going to get to you. It's going to get there. You know how I know? Because look at how media and propaganda and advertisement get us to today. You might not like something when you first hear about it, but the impression of it is there. So, hey, stop in, get a little bit, move the fuck on, and we cool. But let me get to this shit, man, because I'm itching to get this one. So yesterday, where we left off at, we left off at Scripture 14, the fourth day, and the interpretation I got from it was all right. Well, let me show you the scripture first. This is the scripture right here, and this is all my etymology findings and stuff like that. The highlighted words in each one of these findings was closely related to the context of the scripture. Since this is the beginning of Genesis, we know this is the creation story, and the creation story involves things that involve creation, procreation, scientific creation, natural creation. So that's what I'm aiming for when I'm looking at these definitions, because as you can see, for instance, the word sign, right? And the reason why I'm saying sign is because right here, here's the word sign. The word sign, right, says a gesture or motion of the hands, like sign language, right? Well, do you think that's what they mean in this scripture right here? You think they're talking about sign language right here? No, they're talking about something pertaining to creation. All right, especially one moment to express through express thought or convey an idea. That has nothing to do with it. And then we get to this part where it says the mark, the sign and the mark. This is too much of a coincidence. Even though this is a version of the Bible, in etymology, what's the odds of these two words being right next to each other? What's the odds of that? What is the odds that these two words that are in the meaning of sign and mark are right next to each other in quotation marks, and then also in the scriptures are in this book. I'm not gonna call it scriptures no more because you know what, I am gonna call it scriptures, but I'm gonna always reiterate that this shit is not a religious book. This is a book that's almost like a textbook. This is a textbook. Like if you go in your science book, you got all kind of shit in your science book. And these science books have different chapters and all kind of information, and they have references. Well, the Bible doesn't have a reference. So you got to find the reference. And the reference that I think we should be using is etymology because it supersedes the dictionary and the encyclopedia. So, but what's the odds of these two words being side by side, just like they are in the scripture, in the textbook? I don't believe in coincidences, man. Whoever wrote this book knew that in etymology, one meaning of sign means sign, mark, and then all right here, this is an identifying mark. What's an identifying mark in creation? A birthmark, a mole. You see what I'm saying? So we got to take this in consideration. It's not a coincidence that this shit is happening. And then you would say, okay, why? It's not written the same way as in the scripture. Did you know that this word "to" right here means the same as this comma right there? Most people don't. Most people don't know that because they're not teaching shit like that. And you know how I found that out? Because I know what a comma is. A comma is a break or end of the topic, leading into another topic, or actually joining two topics together. It's like taking a breath in between talking, like right now. That's a comma. Now, if you think I'm lying, this is how you find out. You go to etymology. Okay? Let's go to etymology and let's type in the word "to" and see what it says. Now, I said it's a end and a conjunction to add two, like a connection to add two topics together, or to add two things together without making it a run on, so it makes sense. And here's the word "to," preparatory. Now, reading through this, you'll see that "to" in the direction of, for the purpose of, furthermore. All right, so it explains it as if "to" means like to do something or to drive something in a certain way. Okay, you keep on reading, you see that it says from the pi pronominal base do. So "to," right? The pi pronominal base of "to" is do, but it's not spelled regularly. These asterisks, these punctuation marks, this dash and that asterisk right there, these have meaning in the English language. But most people don't know that because we don't utilize that form of writing. Because we think that the word is self-explanatory, but it's not. So the word "to," the pronominal base of "to" is do, and its meaning is to, towards, and upward. You see how that works? But that's not it. See, it also goes and says from the discriminative "d," not found in Scandinavian, where the equivalent of "till," preparatory, is used. Now, why is this important? Why would they even put this in here? Right? You know why? Because every language piggybacks off of English. But in English, if you don't know the context of the story, then you wouldn't know the meaning of the word. So we got to learn the context first, and then we can find the meaning. But it's not a coincidence they put this in here, even though it says not found in Scandinavian, where the equivalent of till is used. So what they're saying is, well, till was used before the word to, de, and do, except in Scandinavia, in the Scandinavian language. So let's see what till says. And like I said, to is like the end of a statement or a certain subject, or adding or conjoining two subjects together. Now let's see what it says. Till, the preparatory, right? I've already looked this up, so I can tell you right now what I mean by it's the end. If you scroll down to the bottom right here, but I'm gonna read through it. I'm just gonna leave that like that. Until. So that's what till means, until. So to has the same meaning of until. And here it is again, to. It's already telling you. And it says till, to, until. But down here, this is the meaning that I was looking for because of its coincidental connection. And like I said, I don't believe in coincidences. So if I know that to means comma, which means a break or an end, then I know that this word till is associated with to, not only from its definition, but from its additional meaning, death, literally, end of life. And that's what happens when you end a sentence. When you put a period at the end of a sentence, any punctuation, you're ending the message of that sentence before that punctuation. This is the end of the sentence, the end of the life of the sentence. This comma right here is the end of the life of this word, moving on to something else or conjoining something else. You see how they put to right here, ended it, and then put till right here, ended it. So without this to or without this comma, these words could be mistaken as being one, to till. Just like toto. I mean, I know I'm talking as if people don't understand this, but believe it or not, a lot of people don't understand it. And what I mean by a lot of people that's reading this book we call the Bible, they don't understand the meaning behind certain things like this. So I might come off as brash or harsh when I'm doing this, but I'm only doing it because it's the right thing to do, for one, because we got to stop doing this shit to each other. And we got to stop letting people do it to us. They've been faking us the whole time. Everybody that's in the scriptures, that know about the scriptures, know that there's additional meanings in this shit. So, well, this is the way to find out what the additional meanings are. That way you can put together a clear thought on when you're reading the Bible, not just going off of faith, belief, because your faith and your belief is not strong enough to give you the answers. That's why in this book it says faith without works is useless. This is the work right here. This is the work. See, if you want to understand the Bible, you need to put in the work to look up the words in etymology. And I'm just doing it for you. So you can either sit here, listen to my bullshit, or you can move on and go listen to your pastor tell you that transgenders and homosexuality is normal and it's in the Bible and it should be taken as a natural form of life. Well, I'm not doing that no more. I've never done that in the first place, but I'm saying this is just an example. This is how they come up with all of these fucking frivolous ass claims about what the word is saying. And I'm here to tell you the word is not saying anything about spirituality. It's saying stuff about scientific experimentation. That's what it's saying. Now, look, we're on 14 again. Let's go ahead and jump into that. Like I said, sign. I don't believe in coincidence, so I'm not going to do that. But look, if we start off, this is how it's supposed to be. Let me move this around. because I kind of jumped the gun on this shit right here. That's how it's supposed to be. All right, because I was doing each word at one at a time. Now, God, everybody has an idea of what God means, right? Of what God was taught to us to mean. But God doesn't mean some spirit in the sky that's gonna save you from evil or take you to a heavenly place. That's not what God means. And if the meaning of God doesn't mean that, how do you come up with the idea of that's what it means? See, that's another form of belief. Let's be realistic about this shit. Now, why would they put person in etymology alongside God? See, and this is what this means. Along. Like means like along. Almost like saying side by side. If I say I got two cars that look alike, how are you gonna make sure that they do look alike? Put them side by side one another, right? And see, this is how my mind works. Simple shit. Well, simple questions deserve simple answers, and you utilize simple shit to come up with those simple answers. And etymology is simple as it comes, because it shows you all the meanings that this word was used throughout history, and it also sometimes tells you the date. It tells you the origin, like the origin of the people that spoke it, and it even tells you the context of it. And that's what we should be looking at. We know this is the creation story, and so why would God-like person not stand out? In my mind, that would be the first thing I would be questioning right there. So, in the creation story, we know God was a creator, all right, and we know that He supposedly made man in His image. So, person is what this actually means. It doesn't mean some spirit. So, God-like person said, and here it goes. Let me move this again, because said is the same as say, and we think said and say means to utter. Yeah, that is what it means to. But in this context, we're not talking about speaking. We're talking about creation. And in creation, you deal with stuff like relations. You know, two babies that are born, they're not strangers. They're related. That's why this word means something to me. So say is said, and said means relate. So that's how you come up with the meaning of this stuff. And that's how I come up with it. And it moves me forward throughout the scriptures. So that being said, I'm not going to go through all of these, but I'm just going to show you what I came up with. And this is 14, number 14 of the scripture. Now tell me what you get out of this. You guys don't have to say nothing. I'm just being facetious with this. But tell me what you think this means. A godlike person relates slackened of such an age, I am to raise compilation, a measure of about 6 feet, to incite, impale in a space which separates, free as a unit of time. Free, it's supposed to be, this is a separation. This is almost like a comma right here, where they play two words together back to back with two different descriptions or two different messages. Free as a unit of time, free in ignorance, to let go. And that's the end of that one. That's why these parts are not highlighted, because this is the beginning of a new message. He or she, right? I am to follow, so old of such an age, female of the swine, adult female hog in existence in famine. Now, you can come up with any type of meaning you want with this, but this is the actual meaning behind the creation story in chapter, or in the scripture number 14. Now, we don't have to dabble with this anymore. when we already know this is what the words mean. Now all we have to do is figure out what this passage means. And to me, what it's saying is that this person right here is speaking of the ability to compilate. We all know what compilation is. Okay? And he's talking about how things are not working out. That's why this word right here at the end is very important, because a famine means lacking. It means without. It means to starve in some way. It doesn't mean to starve without food, because anything you lacking that you need is considered a famine. So this person is saying that it couldn't procreate, or whatever it created couldn't procreate. Because if you look back in the scriptures, and I've done multiple ones, I've done it from number one, the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth, all the way up until this is number 14 right here. And I'm going to continue to go through and do this until I finish the whole Bible. And then I'm going to move on to the Quran, because that's another Judean. These are textbooks, man. Even the Buddhists, I'm gonna do all of them. It's gonna take me a long time, but if you willing to sit through the knowledge, understanding of it, because I don't have this knowledge readily at my disposal. That's why I'm doing it with you guys, because I'm learning this shit too as well. Only thing I learned is how to find a decoder, because the message needs to be decoded. I haven't decoded everything, so that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be decoding. So this is where I left off at yesterday. So if somebody knows what this means, you can drop it in the chat, or you could just later on, if you feel like talking about it, we can chop it up and shit. But this is what number 14 means. I got the rest of them here, and I went over them already, short and sweet. But I'm not going to redo them. I'm just going to keep on moving on. Salutes to everybody in the chat. Salutes to everybody that's going to be watching this. I hope you guys get something out of it. And if you don't, then it's just not meant for you. And that's understandable. It's not for everybody. But let's move on to 15, though. Let's check out what 15 says. They're not taking the liberty of doing it. But let's go ahead and go through the motions and break everything down, okay? Because the process is everything. And if you know the process, then you're not going to have a hard time decoding this shit. So I'll bring this back over here, because yesterday I tried to do it side by side and I couldn't get a good image. Here we go. We all can read, but I'm going to read it to you. Number 15, passage 15 says, "And let them serve as light in the expanse of the sky to shine upon the earth. And it was so." And believe me, every word in this passage right here has an alternative meaning. Every word. So you can go through and you can check every word. For instance, let's check "and," okay? Check "and" here, man. And it's a conjunction, just like "to." Hold on. Let me bring this over here for you guys. Here we go. And it's a conjunction, just like the word "to." It says the meaning thereupon, next. All right. Under. But you see, they put these asterisks in here. That emphasizes something on what the word is supposed to mean. Sources also Old Saxon's "indi," Middle Dutch "indi," Old High German "inti," but the Norse, since the pi root of this word is "in," but the word is "an," says "in" means in, like inside, right? So let's check and see what it has to say. And it says it forms all or part of these words right here. That means that all of these words in some way relate to this meaning. Ain't that crazy? Shit, let me go back. Ain't that crazy though? How does one word have multiple sounds or pronunciations, and we only believe it means one thing? In, right? Means to atoll, means means enclave, embarrass, embargo. And see, so when they writing these words down, when you see this word in a sentence and you don't know the context of the sentence, like what subject we're talking about, then it can mean any of these words. But if you know the subject, like if we're talking about I'm putting food in my mouth, we know that we're talking something about, you know, eating food, about culinary, about digestion. So if I look through these words, there should be something related to that. I put the food in my mouth, right? Ingest. Look what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. Ingest. So this is from here on out, this is how I've been reading shit. And this is why most of my meanings are in conflict with everybody else's, because they're not doing this. And it's very easy. I'm not special. So let's see what it says for in, right? Interior, into, within, right? Inward, inside, within. So we know that we're talking about the creation story. So the meaning that we will be looking for here, right, for in, come on, man, why did I do that? Would be something like inside. Because when you're creating, when a woman has a creation inside of her, this is the word that we'll be saying. You wouldn't say the baby is inward, the baby is within. You would say the baby is inside her. I mean, you can say the baby is inward her, or inward is the baby, or within her is the baby. Or you won't say no, into was the baby, so you would say inside. So this is how this word "and" is interpreted in this context. In this context right here, the word "and" means inside. Okay? But look, you don't have to do every word in order to get the meaning like I did right here. You only need to do the prudent words, the words that stand out. Like let is actually the beginning of the sentence. This word right here is just to emphasize on what we're talking about. Right? So if this word means inside, they're talking about something inside an expanse, right? In the expanse. You see what I'm saying? That's just to lend more context to the whole segment, or the whole scripture. So let's look up let. So we now we know that "and" means inside. Now let's look up the word let. Oh no, not that. Here we go. Let is a verb, right? See, to allow, to leave behind, depart from, leave undone, bequeath. Also, so we've already ran into what we're looking for right here. This is what we're looking for, because this bequeath, and we know what bequeath means. We know that this has something to do with inheritance, lineage, and shit like that, right? So this word has an association with creation, with your family background, with generations. So this will be the word. Who knew that let meant bequeath? So if you're unsure about it, just highlight the word, put it in there, and find out what it means. To say, speak, to exert, blame, leave by will. Leave by will. Who are you leaving it to? Your offspring, your family. Be, to say, You see? To utter, die out. See, this is why this thing with knowledge is power is so important, because once you learn the decoding process, even legalese, they cannot fool motherfuckers. See, they can't fool you. So when they tell you shit like they're actually telling you, you know what? This is something that you are giving that is left behind for you. So we know that let means bequeath, right? And we know what bequeath means. We can keep on going until we find out exactly what we're trying to find based on that context of the story of the sentence. But we don't have to, because we found right off the bat what we're looking for. So in here, I put to rent or hire, right? Because I thought that, hey, let's go ahead and find out if this was something that was being built, because it's an enclosure or something like that. So let's just go off of that, right? Now we know how to we found out what let means. What about them? You see how I got them in red? Because them has a saying as its third person plural pronoun, 12th century. Dative of plural personal and diminutive pronoun bearer, which means see they. So they want you to see they. Let's go ahead and see they. All right. Here's the word they. All right, now, in this context, we still know we're talking about the creation story. And to see the reason why I keep saying we're talking about the creation story is because we got to know where we're at in this entire, history lesson or scientific experiment. You got to know where we're at. So this is how you take notes. So they, pronoun, 12th century, Scandinavian source, pair, right? It means to pair, a pair of. So originally masculine, plural, diminutive pronoun from Proto-Germanic tie or die, Thai with an asterisk. So it's not the same as tie. Nominative plural pronoun from the pi two. So they means two as well, but you see how they spelled it with an asterisk and a dash. The demonstrative pronoun, see that. Regularly placed Old English high or high, plural of he or heo or she and hit. So they could mean two. And if we type in two, we'll find out that this doesn't mean the same thing as the two that we typed in earlier because of the way it's spelled. And let me show you what I mean by that. So here we go with two, right? And it goes straight to till, like we was talking about, to end, right? It's like saying comma. But this two right here, let me show you what comes up with it. Look at that. That's what comes up when you see that. And if I click on the two, bam, it goes back to that. You see what I'm saying? So it's not the same thing. And most people get discouraged when they see stuff like this because they don't know what this actually means. These asterisks and these dashes. I didn't know at first either. But it'll lead you down a whole different avenue of understanding when you can find that out. So we know that it is two, but we're not trying to look for that. We're not talking about the end. We're still in the creation story, and we're still in the process of figuring out what the story is. So we have to go to the next best thing. It says, see that. All right. So now we're in that. It says that, so that, after that, a man's a man, for a that. Relative pronoun. Now, if you guys don't know what that means, it's almost like saying I am what I am. Okay? Relative pronoun. O thou that harvests prayers. O thou that hearest prayers. Sorry about that. If you can't figure out what that means, that right? That's out of scripture. O thou that hearest prayers. And who is O thou that hearest prayers? A man. I am what I am. I am. So that's what it's talking about. That means I am. But we haven't yet found the creation story. We know it's a tie in there because they're using scripture in this right here because that's what they used it for back in the day. So let's look at the pie. The pie is toad or Todd, depending on the asterisk how it would be pronounced. Extended from the diminutive pronominal base to, and this one now, this two right here, asterisk dash two dash, is not the same as the one that I typed in earlier. You might not even get nothing from this one, but it's always good to check it out. Oh, it goes back to it. So these words, man, they have some serious meaning, and it behooves us to find it out. But this is what we're going to go to right here. We're going to go to the dash th, right? All right, we got two different ones, and then now we can scroll through and see what we want. But look, word form element making, ordinal numbers, 4th, 10th, etc. You know, and all, you know how they're talking about 10th, 20th, 30th, shit like that. Different ways of spelling it, THA, and then it's referring back to do, to, the pi or two. Also, don't get overwhelmed with this stuff right here. We're only looking for something that references the context that we're in. But I did recognize this right here, OTO. I don't know if you guys have ever heard that. I've heard that phrase before. There's a group of people that claim that they're in the OTO. So I don't know. Maybe they're trying to say that they are I am. That's what the club is about being gods. You know? So who knows? But we're not getting what we want from there. So let's move on to the next thing. It says cognitive of Sanskrit, THAH, Greek, TOS with a dash in the front, Latin, a dash TUS, tus, Sanskrit, ta, to, the, such, so old of such an age. Now here we go, we're getting into something right here. So old of such an age. Well, we know that scriptures are old, but we also know that when we're talking about creation, we're talking about something that happened a long time ago. So that's fitting for what we're talking about right now. But if you're not satisfied with that, let's go ahead and see ed. Suffix, right, base, th. It refers us back to th. But not only that, originally fully pronounced as still in loved, or still in beloved, which is also say which, with blessed, accursed, and a few other retains the full pronunciation through liturgical reading. In Old English, already the first third person singular past tense of some, which means weak. The verb was te, a variant of de. See ed, and that's what we're looking at right now. Ed, often accompanied by a change in vowel sound, like sleep or slept. A tendency of shortened final consonants has left English with many past tense spelled in ed or the dash ed or ed, but pronounced dash t or t, looked, missed, etc. So you see how they're saying that the word this dash t could have connections to these different types of words. In some older words, both forms exist with different shades of meanings. In the gilded or gilded, gilt, bird, or burned, or burnt. So, right now, the closest thing to what we were talking about was the one with the old age. Right here. So old, of such an age. All right. And it says Old Church Slavonic. Totally. So, to such a degree. Now, anytime I see something that's related to religion, I'm gonna veer towards that. Why would they put Old Church Slavonic? They could have just put Old Slavonic, but they put that church in there for decoders, for people that are looking for, hints and clues. So this is where I would go with that. All right. So now that we've found let, right, we're gonna move on to the next one. I mean, now that we found them, we're gonna move on to the next one. Serve. Now, everybody should know what the usual meaning of serve is, like being a servant, like doing a service for somebody. But in etymology, it breaks on different meanings. It's easy to just copy and paste this shit. Serve, sever, to render habitual obedience to, owe allegiance to, minister. Really? Minister? I don't believe in coincidences. It has something to do with scripture. But let's just keep on moving on. Maybe we can find something else. Give aid, give help, to do duty towards, show devotion to, set table, serve at table. Really? Serve at table. Offer, provide with, and it says be a servant, be in service, be enslaved, figuratively, be devoted, be governed by, comply with, conform, flatter, originally be a slave. Related to serve us, slave, which is uncertain origin. And now look, this is another thing. This is how they've come to the conclusion that having a job is being a slave. Because you're providing what? You're providing a what? Service. So don't listen to these guys, because when they're telling you that service or having a job as a slave, they're actually speaking in religious terms. Because this is where this stuff is actually coming from. They're being taught this in a religious setting, and they're telling us about it as if it was real life and some shit like that. Okay, so that's why I have a problem with the way people be talking about stuff. But I'm going to look at here, it says serve. I'm going to use this word minister. Okay? So I didn't have to go too far to find a connection to the scriptures. Minister. So serve means minister in this context. So I put protect at first, but I know now that it means minister. And it could mean both. Protect and serve, right? Like the police is saying it, right? But as a minister, you're helping people to, when you administer something, you're supposed to be giving them whatever you're administering to help them out, right? To give them an edge in dealing with whatever they're dealing with. So I'm just going to say minister. All right, now let's move on to another one. And the reason why I have this word right here, as, highlighted, is because this word also has a dual meaning. It doesn't mean as, like as in, giving you some type of, what do they call it? It's like a preparatory, like getting ready to say as such and such, or as the world turns or something. It's a preparatory. It's getting you prepared to explain the rest of the meaning. But let's look up this word as well. And see, I do this all the time because I be wanting to know what the underlying meaning and whether this person is trying to persuade me into something. As adjective, conjunction, and pronoun. 12th century, worn down from the Old English, also, quite so, wholly so, literally, also, wholly so. I know that's not like the word holy, but it's like saying completely. That's what I'm getting from that. See also. See, it also says as is see also. But we're not going to stop there. Let's go ahead and finish reading the rest. Fully established by the 14th century, equivalent to so. Like if you say so, like I don't care, so it's almost like saying I don't give a damn. Any distinction in use is purely idiomatic. And that's a weird word to be saying, but I'm assuming it's saying that it's unnecessary. All right, idiomatic, peculiar to a certain language. Peculiar. Idios, one's own. Idiom, thinking, animated. And look, from pi root, men. So this right here actually is referring to us. This word right here, as, is referring to us as men. The reason why I say that is because we need to know the difference between men and man. All right? So look, men, the way it's spelled right here with the asterisk and the dash after the end, it says it forms all or part of, admonish, all of these words, admitting, all of these words, manic. But do you see one word that's not, there's one word that's missing, man, M-A-N. You know why it's missing from men, right? It's because it means something totally different. If we click on men, and I talked about this last night too, men are thinking, to think, to project, to remain isolated or small and isolated. That's what men are. When you put woman, it says something similar to that too as well. But let's type in man. Let's see what we get. All right, this is what we get from men. You would think it would say the same as men. A featherless plantigrade bipedal mammal of the Homo genus, or the genus Homo. This is not saying a man, or this is not describing us. And somebody said that this is describing the Homo erectus or Homo sapien. Well, either way, this is not us. It don't say shit about thinking. But you can see how they try to integrate it into us by putting an asterisk and a dash at the end. But it's still not going to come up. It's just going to say man. Man, hand. Versus the way I was saying it. Look at this. To think, to project, to remain small and isolated. See, that's men. Less is more. There's plenty of us. But you see how they try to integrate this animal into us, sometimes connected to root word men, to think, which would make the ground sense of man, one who has intelligence, negative. No featherless plantigrade bipedal mammal of the genus Homo is intelligent, because if you don't think, you're not intelligent. It don't say anything about thinking in this. It says human being. It says person. See what I'm saying? So if this is a person, right? Man, a featherless plantigrade bipedal mammal, then is that the same as God-like person? Oops, let me fix this. I mean, if you guys see what I'm talking about, is that the same thing? God-like, featherless, bipedal, plantigrade of the homogeneous, or the genius homo. That's what they call it. That's what God represents in this entire scenario. So this is not even man created. This is not even God manifested in our image. If you guys understanding what I'm saying. If not, that's all right. It's all right, because this is not going to be the end of it. See? This is not going to be the end of it. But it gives us a good start, though. So let's go back to what we were doing. And look, oh yeah. Let's look at the idiom and see what that means. But look, we know ass, right? That's what we're looking at. Let's go ahead and go forward to find out what this idiom means. Well, let's look at this first, see where we're left off at. Ass, right? Okay. So we kept reading equivalent to the idiomatic, related to German, als, as, then, from Middle High German also. Okay. So let's go back, because this right here is just going to give us a way that the word is used as well, just as much. You see what I'm saying? That's what the meaning of as well means, just as much. But let's go back to also. Okay, also, just as, even as if, so as, or likewise. If you say likewise, it's like you're in agreement with somebody, or you're agreeing with their saying, or you guys are saying the same thing. Also go to what? All together, and so. All together and so. So, in this way, in such a manner that. So all together in this way. All together in such a manner that. And look, we go right back to the idiom, man. From of speech peculiar to a people or place, meaning phrase or impression peculiar to a language, is from 1620s. And we're saying that this word means from a form of speech peculiar to a people or place, then we're talking about a language only privy to the person that's speaking it. Okay? And in this case, who's speaking it? Supposedly God. A God-like, featherless, plantigrade, bipedal of the genius homo. So they spoke a different language than us. And I'm guaranteeing if they spoke this language, it was privy only to them. If you look into if you're into languages, look at every language and look what language has its own alphabet. What languages have their own alphabet? There's only a few languages that have their own alphabets. And from those, you're going to find the Asian languages and Hebrew. That's it. Every other language piggybacks off of what? The English language. And they have the English alphabet. They're not doing hieroglyphs or picto paleo. That's Hebrew, and that's the Asian languages. And when it comes down to it, those languages right there are Hebrew. The Asian languages, they're Hebrew. They're paleo languages. They're pictographs, almost like hieroglyphs. That's what they are. And the Chinese language is written the same as the Japanese language. Written the same way. Not the way it sounds, because we know that sounds can be changed based on asterisks and dashes. And these lines over the letter will make it a strong sound or a weak sound, or make it no sound at all. So regardless of how you speak the language, if the language is the same, written, spelled, organized, then It's the same language. So I hope you guys got that. But also, right? This word as means also. Okay. And it will mean also as in the saying server, also the light. Like saying there, these two words right here have the same meaning, or they're saying the same thing. We found out that the server was what? The minister and protector, right? Or even guardian. Put that there. That's what the serve means. That means that this word relates to it in some way. Okay? That's what this word is like. It's like saying I agree with you, or we are saying the same thing, or also. Okay? I don't have it on here, but that's what it means. Okay? So that word means also. As means also in this context. Now, the word light, if you guys can see it, bright, radiant energy. That's what we would think, right? Hey, light is bright. It's that which makes things visible. Okay, but how does it have context with serve, which is minister and guardian? Well, that which makes things visible would be like a teacher, someone that reveals things to you. Right? So you guys see where I'm coming from? This is what I'm trying to tell you guys. That the meaning of the word has to relate to the context of the sentence or the context of the message. And that's how we decipher, all right, precepts. This is how we decipher precepts. And it's a very interesting way of understanding things. So let's start our dissection of this shit. Let's start pulling together our information just like we did right here. Right? So this is 14. I've done this with all of them, but I'm going to do every one now. So the first word is and. I'm going to do every word. Okay? The first word is and. Okay, and we said and means inside. Okay? So let's go with that. Let's go with inside. Okay. Let. We said let means what? To rent, put to rent, or hire. Okay, but we know it means bequeath. Bequeath. Okay? So bequeath also means the same thing as, that's why it says also. So let's go ahead and put that in there. All right, them. Let's look at them. Them means they, right? Let's look at they. And we know that they means that because we looked it up in etymology. And we found that we're not talking about two. We're not talking about he or she or any of that shit, right? Well, we are kind of talking like he or she. But we're going to just go off of they and that. And that is actually I am. Remember, a man for a is that. Okay? Already referenced in scripture. So we know we're on the right trail. We're not going to go too far and do all of this, but we know that this is I am, or el, or the. That's why it has the TH. So let's find something that's going to relate to us. So old, of such an age. The creator is so old, of such an age. So let's go ahead and drop that in there. See, this shit's easy, man. All right, now serve. Let's check out the word serve. We know that serve means minister, guardian, protector, right? And it's also the same as light, which makes things visible, almost like a teacher, someone that instructs you. So that's the I am. They're talking about God right here. This word right here, serve as light. This is the creator, not God. Okay, I know I said God, but this is the creator. Okay? Inside, to rent, put to rent or hire, so old of such an age, right? And then minister, guardian, protect, which is I am, which is God, which is the creator. Okay? So this is what they're talking about right here. And these three words right here is I am, which is the creator. Now let's move on to the next one. Let's go ahead and put this in there first. Let's go ahead and put what we got out of that in there. I'm not gonna add the I am, but I am going to put these words in there because that's what they mean. Yep, that's what they mean, yo. Let's see what we got now. Inside, to rent, put to rent, or hire, so old of such an age, minister that which makes things visible. And I'm from there, we go straight to in. Okay? In. And we already saw the word in already. But let's just do it anyway. Just for, bleep and giggles. Nah, I'm gonna say it. Shits and giggles. So the word in, adjective, goes right back to this word en. But into, upon, on, at, among, but, during, and within, inside. We know that we were talking about creation, so we know that whatever it is inside of something. It's almost like when a woman bears a child. The child is inside her. That's a form of creation. So let's go ahead, put that in there. And that's for the word in right here. We can dig deeper, but we want to keep it simple. All right. Now this right here, this word in, okay, the reason why I'm starting a whole new sentence is because guess what? Just like we started with inside, now we ended with inside. No. This is a whole new statement right here now. You guys understand what I'm saying, where I'm going? We don't believe it. Well, I don't believe in coincidence, so I'm not going to create a coincidence. So let's go ahead and move on. Let's do the now. I know this is dry. But this is how you figure this shit out. You ain't gonna have too many young people trying to figure this out, and the elderly people, they can't be taught new tricks. It's gonna be a select few of people that's gonna pick this up and run with it, and they're gonna become deciphering or decoding masters. And you won't be able to, bro. I look at shit on the TV, and I be decoding the shit that they have written on TV, and you be amazed on what they be talking about on TV, telling you. Even some of the drugs that they be talking about have dual meanings that have negative fucking connotations to it. Yeah, I saw a drug on TV. I can't remember the name of it, but I was laughing with my wife. They telling you this drug the drug meaning in etymology means kill. And they telling motherfuckers, take this drug for something, and the side effects are such and such, such and such, such and such, such and such, and the drug means kill. So yeah, them side effects are gonna kill you. It's not like they're not telling us. That's how they can have plausible deniability. But let's get back to it before too much time goes. But the word "the," right? We know that means that. We know it's TH. And we also know that TH is what? I am. So we're talking about I am again. Okay? So you can either use the same thing for I am that we used last time, right? Which is like saying minister, that which makes things visible. And it says, inside to rent, put to rent or hire, so old of such an age, minister, that which makes things visible. And then inside again, but now you're saying inside, minister, that which makes things visible. Tell you, man, this shit is. This shit is not that hard, man. If preachers did this, man, their congregations would be so enlightened, because they would find out things about themselves in the scriptures that were compatible. All right, so let's look at. We said what? What did we say? We did this when we did the in. We did the. Now, expanse of the sky. Expanse of the sky. You know why that's all highlighted? Because this is talking about the same thing. Just like these, we're talking about the same thing. Right? And the reason why I'm saying that is because the expanse is actually an enclosure. It's originally a fathom. If you know what a fathom is. But let's do it anyway. Expanse, right? So I can show you guys what I'm talking about. Expanse. Okay. Spatial attention. I think that's spatial attention. Uninterrupted stretch of area, especially one of considerable extent. From the Latin expansium. All right. To spread out, unfold, expand. X is out. Pandere, to spread or stretch. From nasalized form of pi root PD, to spread. Now I know, right, that people are thinking, oh, that means the sky or the firmament, right? It does mean the firmament. But the firmament is not what you guys think it is. Check it out. PD, right? To spread, right? Look what you got up in there. You got expanse. You got fathom, okay? It is a hypothetical source of evidence for its existence is provided by Greek, whatever that word is, to spread out. Pantaloons, a leaf, right? Patine, a plate or a dish. This is what we're looking at right here. A plate or a dish, okay? In Old Norse, Fulmer, which means embrace, bosom, embrace, bosom, phantom, the outstretched arms. Now look, the reason why I didn't stop here at plate or dish, because this would describe what? The firmament, right? But we're not talking about the sky. We're talking about creation, right? So in creation, this plate or dish wouldn't be relevant here. But there's something that stands out. Embrace, bosom, and then they go straight to fathom. What the hell is going on there? It says Old Saxon fathomos, the outstretched arms. Now we know that this is not something that's related to expanse. when they're telling you that expanse means an uninterrupted stretch of area, meaning that this area has no boundaries or borders or separations, right? And we could have went the X way. We could have said CX, right? We could have CX, and we could have said out of, from, but also upwards, completely deprived of, without, and former. This is talking about when they're talking about a enclosure. It's saying the enclosure out of, from, but also out of, but also upward, completely deprived of, without, and former, X out of, form within, from which time, since, according to, in regards to. You see why all of this stuff right here is one complete sentence. One complete sentence. That's why they put a comma and then they start the new things. Out. And they start in some cases, also the Greek cognate, EX and EK, pi root A, had comparative forms. All right, so we're not getting anything here. They're just telling us the different ways to explain this word EX. So we're going to go back to expanse and we're going to go to the next one. That's why I chose PD. That's my process of elimination right there. But let's check out why fathom. Copy. Paste. Fathom, because that stands out. Fathom. Length of outstretched arms. A measure of about 6 feet. Whose arms are 6 feet? Length of outstretched arms. A measure of about 6 feet. I don't know anybody with arms that are 6 foot long. So we know that they're not talking about the length of outstretched arms. They're talking about a distance, a unit of measure. Also, arms, grasp, embrace. We're talking about an enclosure. That's what we're talking about. But we're not talking about no dome enclosure, because the dome is considered covering everything, right? Is that 6 feet? Is that 6 feet? All right, unless the dome only covers so much. So we're talking about a small enclosure, right? Embrace and figuratively power. So if you have control over an animal's ability to travel or move, that means you have power over that animal. Embrace the bosom, outstretched arms. The reason why they keep repeating this is to show emphasis, almost like saying, duh, this is not what we mean. This is not what we mean. So let's say it repetitive times so people can actually dissect it. A measure of 6 feet, which is a fathom, right? To spread. It has a parent cognitive of Old Frisian fathom, German faden, thread. With OEE's Old English Dictionary explains by reference to spreading out as a unit of measure. In an early gloss, which gloss means like an early interpretation, it appears for Latin passus, almost like a pasture, right? A pasture or passus, which was about 5 feet, still close to 6 feet. So we're talking about a fathom is the interpretation for expanse. So what we're going to go by, we're going to go with a measure of 6 feet. That's what we're going to go with. Simple, right? All righty. That's the expanse right there. The expanse, my bad. What am I doing? Here we go. Expanse of the sky. So let's go ahead and do of. Preparatory. Away. Away from. Dutch. Off. Down. Off. From down. Root word. Apo. Asterisk. Dash at the end. Off or away. Now we know what the context is. Creation, right? I hate to keep on beating that horse, but we're going to keep on doing it because this is repetitive learning. All right? It is a hypothetical source of evidence for its existence and provided by Sanskrit apa, away from, Avestian, apa, away from, apo, from, away from, after, in descent, from, Latin ab, away from Gothic af, Old English, away from. So of means away from. So 6 feet away from what? What are we talking about? Let's go ahead and get that away from real quick. Let's put this in there. 6 feet away from what? Say inside, minister, that which makes things visible. A measure of about 6 feet away from what? Well, let's see. The. Away from what? The. We know what the means. The means what? I am. Right? I am. That's I am right there, right? So let's do this again. And see, this is why this is so, crucial, because people we have to recognize this. Anything in repetitive is going to mean that there has some type of, they want you to learn some type of understanding from this. So this is what's going on here. Put this back. Sorry, Minister. Minister Pope Chop. So there we go. Inside, minister, that which makes things visible. A measure of about 6 feet away from minister, that which makes things visible. Now we can go even deeper and find out what minister mean, but I'm telling you, it's going to mean church father. That's what it's going to mean. But you know what? Let's learn by example. Minister. There we go. Autocorrect, motherfucker. This is man consecrated to serve in the Christian church and scholastic. Also, an agent acting for a superior, one who acts upon the authority of another. Servant, valet or valet, member of a household staff, administrator, musician, minstrel. That's 12th century. And directly from Latin, minister, genitive ministry, inferior, servant, priest assistant. Hold on, man. Priest assistant. Medievalato. A priest. What I tell you, church father. From minus, minor, less, his, subordinate, small, right? Comparative suffix form on the model of magister. See, master. So when we saying that, hey man, these guys, this minister, right? It's the imitation of the master. It's the small master. It's not the original. And that's what this L, this the is. You see what I'm saying? It's the creator, but it's not the creator of everything. So we got the Now, this word right here, sky, is the same as expanse. It's the same as expanse. A measure of about 6 feet away. Okay? Let me show you what I'm talking about. Sky. Like Sky Daddy. Okay. Remember, 12th century as a surname, like a last name. Psych, a sky. Sky. Some water. A cloud. Yeah, that's what they want us to believe. That's what they teach us in school. Right? Cloud cover. The sky. The heavens. See? Cloud. Region of the clouds. Sky. In Old English, skua. Old Norse, skugi. Shadow. Gothic. Skuwa. Mirror. Right? Pyroot. S in quotations with an asterisk in front of it. Q with a dash behind it. To cover and conceal. Now, this is talking about the firmament. Right? Let's check this out. Cover and conceal. Hypothetical source of evidence for its existence is provided by Sanskrit costa, enclosure, enclosing, wall, a cover, a hollow vessel, to cover, to hide, eyebrows, dark, husk, stall, roof, gut, sheath, a hide, a skin, to hide, conceal, clouds, all of this stuff from sky. All right. Now let's see what it says about heaven. Upper region of the air, region of clouds, wind and rain, the heavens, the firmament. You see what I'm saying? The firmament. It's attested from 13th century to replace native hephon or heophon in the sense heaven. Now watch this. Watch what we find. All right. Home of God. Earlier, the visible sky, the firmament, probably from Proto-Germanic hidden, or hibben, the dissimilation of himen, source of all Low German hibben, Old Norse himenen, Gothic himen, right? And it says heaven, sky, which is of uncertain and disputed origins. The reason why is because heavens means expanse and firmament. Perhaps it was literally a covering, pyru kid, to cover, which also have been proposed as a source of chemists. Chemist is what? A shirt, an undershirt, a shirt, under tunic shirt, or directly from late Latin, a shirt or a tunic. Now, what they're describing here is not the shirt on the outside. This is the shirt under the shirt from the outside, which is like an enclosure under an enclosure. An enclosure under an enclosure. So the sky is an enclosure under an enclosure. You see what I'm saying? Just like expanse is a fathom, which is about 6 feet. So if an enclosure under enclosure, which is 6 feet, that's a cage. That's a cage, my boy. That's a cage, my boy. To cover and conceal. That's what we're going to use. That's what we're going to use. To cover and conceal. That's for the sky. So, like I said, we're not going to start off with the saying and end with it. We're going to put this here. This is the beginning of our sentence. All right. Minister that which makes things visible to cover, conceal. This is where we at now, man. Hold on now, though. All right. Now this word two. Two. So we did the expanse of the sky in two. Let's look at it. Because we talked about two earlier, but we talked about it with an asterisk and a dash at the end. But let's just type in two. Preparatory, till, end. This is like a period. End, limit, point, aim at, and the goal. Till. And look how they refer to one another. You got till preparatory or proper noun, and you got till as a verb, and you got till as a noun. But look, it says till. This is the word you want to refer to for this meaning, the proper noun. You want to revert to till the verb. And look where you want to revert to from till the verb to find the meaning for till the verb. Till the preparatory noun. You see what I'm saying? These guys, the way that this shit works is you got to know the difference. Both the verb and the preparatory is the same thing. And they both means end, limit, point at an aim or goal. But I'm just going to choose the end. There you go. So that's what two means. Expanse of the sky, end. Okay? But we know that's not what it says. Meaning that this is what it says. Minister that which makes things visible to cover and conceal the end. To cover and conceal end. I'm telling you, bro. All right, shine upon. See, so what it's saying is, and let them serve as light in the expanse of the sky to shine upon the earth. And it was so. Every one of these words have a translation. Now let's look at shine. I'm going to shine on you. Bam. Shine, verb and a noun. So let's look at the verb for it first. Shed, send forth, or give out light. Be radiant, be resplendent, illuminate. Of persons. Now we getting somewhere. Of persons, be conspicuous. Right? Class 1, strong verb, past tense, scan, past participle, seeding. This is constructed to be formed Proto-Germanic. Source also Old Saxons and Old High German scanning. German, the root sky, to shine, to gleam. But let's find out if you don't know what this word means right here. All right. Open to view, catching the eye. All right. See, come. Word, element, usually seen with, together, classical, together with, in combination, beside, near, by, with. So this word right here, come, means almost like also, like together, like comparisons. It could be opposites that are together, but what I'm thinking it is, it's conspicuous means that you're seen. Make sure I'm saying that right. Conspicuous. All right. So we know what that means. But let's go back with shine. Okay, so shine as a verb ain't giving us too much. Of smooth or polished surface, gleam, give off reflecting light. Of a person, a face, be fair skinned, be beautiful. 12th century. It also used in Middle English of the night when cloudless, and starlit. Sorry. The transitive sense of cause to shine is from 1580 The meaning to black boots is from 1610. Shine in the shoe polish sense. All right. So we ain't getting nowhere from that. Right? Not right off the bat. But we go to the noun, it's going to refer us back to the verb, right? But it's something else about this that I want you guys to see. See how it says 1520, brightness, radiance, refer back to the same one we just read, indicating sunshine and paired with rain, the noun from 1620, meaning polish given to a pair of boots is from 1870s. But then this is the part that's interesting right here. For the American English slang meaning, a prank, a trick, see monkey shine, often also a fancy, a liking, as in phrases such as take a shine to or fancy, attested by 1830 in representation of Yankee dialect. Shine up to, attempt to please as a suitor by making a brilliant impression. Attempt to please as a suitor by making a brilliant impression. Either way, it's referring back to the verb right here, but I just think it's really interesting that shine could mean a prank, a trick. So look, I'm gonna use this because it sounds like the whole thing with this is going to that direction. And we look at it, it says inside to rent, put and rent or hire, so old of such an age, minister that which makes things visible. Inside, minister that which makes things visible, a measure of about 6 feet away from. Minister that which makes things visible, to cover, conceal, and to what? To cover, conceal, and a trick. I know it ain't making sense right now. That's what shine means. A trick. And now, up on, right? Let's go ahead and look up the word up on. 2 words. Right? I'll break it down though. Preparatory, early, on, up to, against, from up and on, probably influenced by Scandinavian source such as the Old Norse up, upper. All right. So let's see if anything pops up if we put this in there. Well, it just breaks it down. We don't really need to do that. But let's go ahead and look at up. Should be self-explanatory, right? Up, upward, right? On, up on, under. Hold on. Up means under? Come on. How? How does up mean under? All right. Abba, ob, over, above, on, up on, pi root, up, o, under. Also up from under. Hence also over. So we getting somewhere, right? Under, up, o, under. Right? That's just the word up. Now let's look at on. All right, in a position above and in contact with, in such a position as to be supported by, also nothing the goal to which some action is or has been directed, about, concerning, regarding, in a position to cover. Hold on. You know what this is sounding like? Can't make this shit up. Up is saying under, right? Because that's the root word for it. And over, on is saying above. As above, so below. This is where these motherfuckers get this shit from. From this word up on. As above, so below. And it's written backwards. Just like in Spanish, when you say a word in Spanish, you're actually saying the word backwards because it's understood from back to front. Okay? So this word up on is actually where they get this meaning above and below. But they're saying it wrong. It's supposed to be under and above. Under and above, because if you're saying up on, you're saying what? Under, right here, under, and you're saying above, in a position above. All right? So that's what this means. Under and above. Under and above. That's what this up on means. Under and above. So let me go ahead and get this. Copy. Boom. Under. All right. And above. Minister that which makes things visible, to cover, concealed, in a trick, under and above. Under, above. All right. We know the is the same as I am, right? Which is the minister again. And this word earth. So let's go ahead. This is right here. This is the end of the sentence. Right now, we're going to be doing the second sentence. Because we never start off and end with the same statement. That's how this shit works. Come on, man. Now, earth. And I know people are thinking, the earth, the land, Gaia. Yeah, okay. Earth as a verb refers to earth as a noun, right? Here we are. Earth is a noun. The ground, soil, dirt, dry land. All right, don't forget that word land, because that word land means the same as earth. But we're going to find out that earth doesn't mean that, but it's referring back to it. Country, district, also used along with Mediagird. I don't know how to say that. For the material world, the abode of man, as opposed to the heavens of the underworld. The heavens or the underworld. So we're back in the religious thing. So we're in the right way. From Proto-Germanic, eartho, earth, right? Ear, Dutch, ard. See, the reason why I'm pointing this out is because I'm going to go back to that. All right. Perhaps from an extended form of the Pi root ER with an asterisk and a dash, means earth and ground. So we go there, we'll say Proto-Indo-European root meaning earth, ground. It forms all or part of aardvark, aardwolf, earth, earthen, and earthy. All right. It is a hypothetical source of evidence for its existence is provided by Old English Europe, like Europa, ground, soil, dirt, dry land, Old Norse Jorod, Old High German Ereda or Arda, Gothic Erpa, and Middle Irish ERT with a dash, earth. So what are we going to get out of this? It forms all or part of these animals. It even says what it is. So we know we're not talking about the earth, earthly, or earthing. So we're talking about what? One or two of these. One or two of these. That's what we're talking about. See, aardvark, South African groundhog, right? The groundhog, okay? The ground and hog. 1833 in Germany from 1824, the Afrikaans, Dutch, aardvark, literally earth pig, is burrows. It's burrows from earth or ard, earth. So you mean to tell me ard means earth? Or earth comes from the word ard? And we're talking about creation? Yes, this is it. But just to make sure, let's check aardwolf. Small insectivore mammal native to East and South Africa, related to the hyena. 1833 from Afrikaans, Dutch, aardvark, literally earth wolf. From ard, earth. See earth, wolf, see wolf. Well, it's the ard. It's the aardvark. Because you know what I don't understand is why would they give a description of what this animal eats? All right? And they didn't give the same thing for this one. It's because this animal is of no relation to the other one. This one is selective. And it says that this animal, right? Earth pig is earth, is ard, right? And varken is a small pig, and which is from Proto-Germanic farhaz, young pig, sucking pig, and a diminutive form, pyroot porco, or young pig, which means this thing was birthed, and a sucking pig suckles from his mother after childbirth or after the animal's birth. So this is what the word earth closely resembles. Aardvark. Okay. Here we go. Let's jump into this. So minister that which makes things visible. The aardvark. All right. I can't make this shit up, man. Can't make it up, man. This is what 14 is talking about. Now let's read it the way it was written, the way everybody's understanding it. Everybody's understanding it, and let them serve as lights in the expanse of the sky to shine upon the earth. And it was so. Now this and it was so shit right here. We can already know that this has a meaning as well. But this last sentence only consists 2 words. The earth, right? And look what we got out of it. Minister that which makes things visible. Aardvark. Really? And we read the whole thing. Inside, to rent, put to rent or hire. So old, of such an age, minister that which makes things visible. Inside, minister that which makes things visible. A measure of about 6 feet away from. Minister that which makes things visible, to cover, concealed in, a trick under, above. Under and above. Minister that what makes things visible. Aardvark. Now, have you guys ever wondered? And I'm just reading this with you guys. Have you ever wondered where they got the story about the groundhog from? Huh? That's why I was reading groundhog earlier, over and over again, in this here aardvark right here. Groundhog. Look at these motherfuckers. They talking about groundhog and how it's a trick. How it's a trick. What does the groundhog do? You're supposed to come out, look at his shadow, and that's going to determine whether you have what? A couple of more months or a couple more weeks, 6 weeks of winter, or you're going to go straight into spring. I'm telling you, man. And this is the beginning of the book in Genesis. This entire passage, number 15, is talking about Groundhog's Day. Just with Jeezy Weezy. And we think these motherfuckers are talking about the creation of the lights in the sky. They talking about Groundhog's Day, y'all. Damn, man. Damn. All right, moving on. Here we go. I hope y'all got something out of that shit, man, because I'm gonna tell you right now, the average person ain't gonna fucking decipher that shit like that. You guys are extraordinary because now you know how and what that shit means. Now you can break it down better than that. You can write this in complete sentences. This is untethered. This right here is untainted. This is the untainted message. And you can take it and you can turn it into something that people can understand. But in all other words, verse 15 of Genesis is talking about Groundhog's Day. See, and this is how you precept this shit. You ain't gotta add multiple verses together in order to find this. You just take that one verse, run it through etymology, relate it to the context of the chapter, and you'll get the meaning of the verse. But you gotta know the context of the chapter. Man, I do this with everything. Everything. When I be watching TV, sometimes I think it's a curse. Because once I learned it, I can't help but do it. I can't help but do it. And if you do it multiple times, you'll find out that they're using the same words over and over again. All you got to do is figure out what the context is. Like right up here at the beginning, right? The first day, and God said, "Let there be light." Well, didn't it say lights right here? Didn't it say lights right here? But what's the context of it? And this is what people don't get. The context of this right here could be the same thing as the context of the other one. This is still the creation story, but then you got to read in the story to find out what's ahead of this word. And God said. Look back. God-like person, relate. That's how you find out what this next word is going to be, or this next word is going to be. Let there be light. That doesn't mean he created light. It has a different meaning. So in other words, verse 15 of Genesis is talking about Groundhog's Day. Let's move on to 16, all right? So we know that they starting off with God-like person. So let me add me another PowerPoint right here so I can put mine started off. Yep. Now, we haven't done this word made yet, but let's look at the word made. We got it right here. I got it right here already. Late 14th centuries, created, raw, fabricated, constructed, a word of words, stories, etc. So a fabrication or construction of words and stories. Right? Let's go a little bit further. Made, past participle of Machian, almost like saying magician, to make. And here's the word make. From 1570s as artificially produced, formed independently of natural development. Made means this: artificially produced, formed independently of natural development, words and stories. See how I did that? That's what that one word means right there. And we think it means he made it. No, You forgot about the artificially produced or the fabricated and construction. You forgot about that. If it's not natural development, it ain't from the creator. It's from man. So automatically you know this is a person. Come on, y'all. So here we go. Let me go ahead and add my shit in there. Artificially produced. I'm just gonna grab the first part of it. We got the gist of it. Now, when you first start off with this, it takes practice, man, because you're not gonna get it the first time. It's gonna seem foreign to you putting this stuff together. But as you do it, that's why I seem so sure of myself. That's what it means, because I've been doing this stuff for a little while, and I can see how everything goes. That's how I can decipher what I discover in etymology about this shit. Now you can use, because you know this etymology right here. Let me get out of here. This is a combination, a combination of a dozen etymology books. Basic sources of this work are Weekly's an etymological dictionary of modern English, Klein's a comprehensive etymology dictionary of English language, Oxford's English Dictionary, second edition, Barnhart's Dictionary of Etymology, Holthausen, Etymologisch, Weltbuch der Englischen Spechier, that's speech, whatever, and Kiefer and Chapman's Dictionary of American Slang. A full list of print sources under in this compilation can be found here. And if you go in here, you will see all the references that they use. So this is not just from one etymology source. And this is not just from etymology. We're talking about dictionaries and everything. So there's an accumulation of information on this website that you can utilize. And it's not just one source. It's just packaged and put in one neat location. So let's go back to what we was doing. So we got God and made, right? So let's now go to two. And I got it highlighted because two is actually comes from the word twine or twain. Twain, Old English two, masculine, nominative and accusative or accusative, from Proto-Germanic TWA or twa, right, with the asterisk and checkered bin, which means two, from Pi root asterisk dawo, or dawo, which means two. To correspond to Old Frisian, Dutch Twee, High German, so on and so forth, the land outlasts the breakdown. The word outlasts the breakdown of gender in Middle English and survived as a secondary form of two. So back in the day, twain used to mean man and woman, especially in cases where the numeral follows a noun. Its continuation into modern times was aided by its use in King James Version. So you know, man, look, I tell you, they refer to religion every time because that's what this entire that's what these etymology and dictionaries were created for. They were not created for you to be able to write a perfect sentence. They're decoder books. Dictionaries are decoder books for religious texts. How you think they were able to get the message out there when a religious book is in another language? They put a translating book right next to it. They give it to the person because if they can't speak the language, then they ain't gonna know the meaning of the words. This is what this shit is. And the marriage service. You see what this is? See, its continuation into modern times was aided by its use of King James Version and the marriage service. in poetry, where it is useful rhyme words, and in oral use, where it is necessary to be clear that two and not two, like TWO, and not TO or TOO. See, and that the reason why two has so many different forms of interpretation is because this is the number two. This is also the word also, and this is the word also, maybe, and inclined is meant. In the U.S. nautical use, a depth of 2 fathoms. Now, why would I say that? Why would I highlight a depth of 2 fathoms? Because earlier we found out that expanse, right? Expanse referred to fathoms, right? In the same, we're talking about the next verse, bro. We're talking about the next verse. And they already referring back to verse 15. And it talks about expanse. And the word expanse derives from the word pedi, right? And the word pedi came with fathom. And see, this is how you can go back and correct yourself if you made a mistake, which I didn't, because now I can refer back to expanse, pedi, and also clear up this word two. This word two means the same thing as the expanse. But instead of one expanse of 6 feet or 1 fathom of 6 feet, it's 2 fathoms of 6 feet. You see what I'm saying? So this is going to go into the hat trick box. Y'all don't get it. Yep, this is a hat trick box. The reason why I say it's the hat trick box, because there's something in soccer where if you do a trick more than one time, I think they call it the hat trick. And this is the trick. This word expanse, EXPANSE, is the same as this word two, TWO. It means 2 times the expanse. Okay? Now let's go do great. Here we are with great. And this all comes from etymology now. This all comes from the etymology dictionary or the etymology source. So this word great, the word form element denoting kinship, 1 degree further removed. Kinship, 1 degree further removed. Remember, repetition is key. The reason why I'm saying that twice is because that's the meaning. Early 15th century, a great uncle from great, based on similar use on French grand. See, grand. And Old English ways of saying great grandfather was what? Literally 3rd father. And what did I say was the church father? You got your grandfather, you got your father, and you have your church father, 3rd father. In early Middle English, for blah, 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 is used in the 12th century. So this reference right here is older than the reference that what they're giving us. Now, great could mean abundance, but in this reference, it means great grandfather or kinship 1 degree further removed. Okay, but I'm gonna use great grandfather because we know that's the same thing, right? No, that's the same thing. So let's recap. What we got here, we got God made 2 great. That's all we did right there. That's just this part right here. And look what we got from it. God-like person, artificially produced, a depth of 2 fathoms. That's it. Now I should have put this down here. This is the beginning. All right, because like I said, this refers back to this. God-like person is like a church father. This is your 3rd father removed, your church father, great grandfather. Okay. Now let's move on to the next one. Great grandfather, right? Lights. Now let's look at what lights mean. It's not like lights in the sky. See, light is an adjective. Not heavy, having little actual weight. All right, not heavy, lightweight, lightly constructed, easy to do, trifling, quick, agile, also of food and sleep, etc. Now, this is why I'm reading on this, because this is going to prove relevance and show context. All right, from pyru, liquid, with asterisk and a dash, not heavy, having little weight, and adverb is old. Okay, so here's light. Now we said something back here that serve as light were the same thing, right? The reason why we said it here is because in this context, creation context of the service, that which makes things visible. Now, what's the difference between this light and this light? Well, let's find out. Okay. L-I-G-H-T. All right, so we got light, the verb. All right, it says to shed light, to set on fire. Okay, to set on fire. Hold on, let's go back. What was that? Verb 2, to shed light, to set on fire. So there's so many lights, but let's look at the light. Let's look at all of them. We know it's this one right here is the one that everybody thinks that the light is. Brightness, radiant light, right? Well, we know that that's not the context, because if we read in the story, right, if we read from what we got right here, God made two great lights, we know that that's not the case. Artificially produced, a depth of 2 fathoms. So something was produced, and it was produced artificially, and its structure, its dimensions was 12 foot in diameter. It was 12 feet deep underground. If you guys understand what I'm saying, 12 feet deep. Godlike person artificially produced something a depth of 2 fathoms, which is 12 feet. 1 fathom is 6 foot. All right, so then it says the great grandfather. It wouldn't be light as in a bright light. It would have to refer back to whatever was constructed in this last sentence. That's why this light was chosen, and not this light, and not that which makes things visible. If you catch my drift, this light is almost like saying, I'm going to let you in on the story, on the secret. You know what I'm saying? This light right here is saying this shit was made cheaply. This shit was made. This is a piece of shit. This is junk. It's like buying a TV from China, or it's like buying a microwave from China instead of America, and the damn thing blow up on it, or you get cancer from it, whatever. But that's what I'm saying. That means it was cheaply made. So this is the word. This is what I'm going to use. Lightly constructed, easy to do, trifling, quick, and agile. Now, we can use this whole thing to give us an interpretation, a full rounded interpretation, but I'm just going to put easy to do. Or I can put lightly constructed. We all know that those are the two of the same things. It means it's cheaply made. That's why it says trifling and quick and agile. Okay? But let's just go ahead and put lightly constructed, easy to do. See how easy that is, man? See, the great grandfather, lightly constructed, easy to do. Now, let's not use this part right here. Lightly constructed would be all right. We don't need that damn punctuation in there either. All right, so this right here, light, is lightly constructed. This great right here is your great grandfather or family member third removed. Okay. Now you see how they have this mark right here? This is like the prelude to this part where they start the true message right here. Now, we know is what? In this case, it's referring to I am, or the man, or the creator of this damn construction, which is the same person right here. Okay, so this is godlike person, and this right here is the same thing as that. As you can see, we're going to refer back to this part. You know what? Let's just go ahead and do it. We don't really have to play. No, we can look at it. Let's look at it. The expanse. Yeah. Measurement of 6 feet away from. So that which makes things visible or minister. That's what we're going to use. We'll use minister. Okay, so this right here, we're going to put that, the same thing that's located right there. So this is 2 sentences, and this right here is the end of it. And then now this starts up. So let's go ahead and let's do, hold on, I need to take a quick break real quick. All right. Man, thought I was gonna bust. But yo, I'm gonna keep all these PowerPoints and I'm gonna turn this into an ebook. So if people are interested in reading it, they can go and check it out. Yeah, because as you guys can see, this is time consuming. Straight up, it's time consuming. But I like it. It's fun. So we're gonna use what we're gonna use. We're gonna use the minister. Yeah, we're gonna use the minister. So we don't further confuse things. This will be the start of our sentence. So the word "the" is minister. It's the I am, okay? Now, the reason why this word right here is highlighted in two different colors is because we got two different words right here, great and And I took the liberty of going ahead and doing this. Great. Word element, kinship, right? We know all that, right? So instead of using great grandfather, we're going to use the kinship 1 degree further removed. That's what we're going to use for great. All right. And then this is what the reason why you want to find out what this means is because it references to the word that it's connected to. And see, it says comparative suffix from Old English, ra, masculine, re, feminine, neuter, all right, Germanic. But you see ra right here, masculine means and you see how I got elder highlighted down here? You'll see why in a couple minutes. Originally, also with umlaut changed to stem, but this was mostly lost in Old English by historical times and has now vanished, except in better and elder. That's the connection. That's what this is connecting to let me know that I'm going down the right path. That is referring to what? Kinship, degree of further removed, and what? Great grandfather and third father, literally great uncle. See why it says great uncle? I can highlight that too. Great uncle. All right. So we don't have to worry about this. We know that's the conjunction. That's the connection. The conjunction, sorry. That's the connection. That lets me know I'm on the right trail. So we don't even have to include that. But we are going to include this one right here, light, because now it's referring back to the same thing we were talking about. Lightly constructed, easy to do, trifle, quick, and agile. So now let's see if we can put what makes sense in here. Kinship, one for to do. We can put trifling in there. We can put quick. I'll just go ahead and put the whole thing. Because we know it's just referring back to itself over and over again. Minister, kinship, 1 degree further removed, lightly constructed, easy to do, trifling, quick, and agile. Straight up. All right. To rule the day. So let's look at to. Now the word to actually is this is the word we're using, not this word right here. But let's go ahead. I think it's this one, till. So we're using this one right here. In, limit, point, aim, at, goal. So this word right here actually means period. We're not going to go any further. We're not going to add anything else to this sentence right here. Now it's time to start a new sentence with rule. Okay? The new sentence to rule. That's why this is a green and stop. That green means that green and red right here means that it's time to go on to the next sentence and stop at this sentence. That's why the word is red to stop at that, and green to go forward to start a new one at rule. Now the word rule, 12th century, principle or maximum governing condition or conduct. Principle or maximum governing conduct. This is very important. I don't have it highlighted, but I need you to realize, because there's such thing as maxims of law, right? Now, this could be like rule means like I rule over you or I'm a ruler, but no, that's not what this is saying. So the word rule, we need to know that it's a prelude to identify what's relevant and what's not. Formula to which conduct must be conformed. From Old French rule, Norman rule or rule, customs, religious order, and that's why I got that highlighted, religious order, because now we know that they're talking about some type of reverence that they're giving to this. All right, from vulgar, straight stick, bar, ruler. See how they go into measurements now? You know this is not measurements. A pattern, a model, regulate, to rigueur, to rule, strengthen, guide. That's what people think this word means. That's see how we went from ruling, from a measurement to this, and then it goes back to the pi root word, which is regs, which was move in a straight line. But we also don't want to forget about the religious order that moves in a straight line, with derivatives meaning to direct in a straight line, thus to lead and rule. So we can either put this portion in there, or we can put religious order, which that's what I'm going to choose. All right, minister, kinship on a degree further removed. 1 degree further removed, likely constructed, easy to do, trifling, quick, agile, religious order. Man, it's like we speaking Shakespeare, or I'm speaking Shakespeare or some shit. But there's a method to my madness. All right, so hold on, let me go back because I gotta fit. Yeah, I think we were supposed to start. Rule was supposed to be its own sentence. There we go. Because we stopped at 2. That was the period. All right, duh. Now this duh right here has a different connotation, because now we're talking about a religious order. So this duh can't be the same as this duh. It can't be the minister. It has to have some other purpose. See, word forming element, making original numbers, 4th, 10th. You see where I'm going with this? Do the so old of such an age. This is the religious order that we're talking about, which is the, right? So old of such an age. So this is the the that we're going to be using. So old for such an age. Not the the of the minister, but we're talking about the religious order. So old of such an age. Damn. Okay. Now we'll go down to day. The word day, right? Now, let's find the word day, because I got it right here, but you guys don't know why I have die away, right? So let me go ahead and show you why I got die away. We type in the word day. We're trying to figure out what's its connection to the sentence. The period during which the sun is above the horizon, also lifetime, definite time of existence. All right. Deus. Okay. According to Watkins, the pi root is a day. So let's look at day or All right, hold on, guys. Got to take a little break here. All right, I'm back. I had to take that call. Let's go. So period during which the sun is above the horizon. We know that has nothing to do with it. Lifetime, definite time of existence. Might have something connecting with it, but not right now. But we're gonna go to the first pi root a day, okay? And let's see what it says. As a unit of time. All right, a day, daisy, holiday, rich stag, today, to burn, hot season. All right, not quite what we're looking for. So let's move on. He adds that the Germanic initials D is of obscure origin, but Bakins says that it is from pi root dog, to burn. See, fever. All right, so the early use, also fever, Old English, fever temperature of the body higher than normal, related to fever, to warm, heat, which is probably the pi root dog born, day, originally the heat, ashes, heat, summer, but some suggest a reduplication of the root representing the Sanskrit bar, to be restless. Okay. To be restless. Okay. All right. Latin word was adopted in most of Germanic languages. Fervor, Danish, fervor, or fever, but not Dutch. English spelling was influenced by Old French, fiver. That's how you say it. The alternative word for fever was Old English hero, which is cognative with Old High German herito, and Irish, and so on and so forth. Latin fervoris also was glossed by that word. The extended sense of intense nervous excitement is 1580s, also as a verb in Old English for fervent. But this has some type of meaning, but I think that this right here is close to where we're going. But let's go back, because I didn't pick fever. I picked what? Second pi root, which is by you, to shine. All right. Now this is what lets me know I'm on the right trail, because we start to refer back to some of the same things that's in what? That's in the scriptures. All right, referring back to this right here, the sky, the expanse, the sky, heaven, which is the expanse, and then also the, which is what? El. Okay, so that lets me know I'm on the right trail. But not only that, right? That day is about the God in the sky, but as we go down, we have the word Deus, which means God. Okay? Is the hypothetical, and you can see where I got that from, is the hypothetical source of evidence, for its evidence is provided by Sanskrit Deva, God, literally shining one, Deva, day by day. So this is where they get their words from, Devos, which means God, or Deva, or Diva, by day. And then Dava, which means spirit, demon, clear, dies, which means day, Deus, which means God. Okay, so we got all of this from the word day, which comes from the word Deu. So we can use this word day and call it what we think it is in the form of this religious text. So it could be spirit, demon, all right? It could mean God, okay? And we know that God means a godlike person, right? It could be gods. It could mean, what is this word? Twos, the name of God. See this word right here? Twos. How come we ain't know that? That's what they call in the name of gods. A tile. Let me see if that's how you say it. Let the computer pronounce it. Tieways. Name of a god. Tieways. So this word day right here, right? Let's see what we have anyway in the form of this writing. All right, religious order so old of such an age, and then we're calling this, right? Dieways or Deus, right? So it's talking about the religion and the founder of the religion, I think. I mean, we can just put God. We know what God means. We're not going to break it down any further. But days doesn't mean a day doesn't mean necessarily a time or a measure of time. It doesn't mean that. It's called literally the shining one. So when they're putting day in there and they got the day, and the is not saying that it's what? The minister. It doesn't reference to minister. So now we know that we're talking about somebody else. All right, we're talking about, it's probably that Taiwese guy. The Taiwese. And this word and. But it'll reveal itself. Let's go ahead and grab up what we think it is. And I'm gonna go with spirit or let's not go with spirit or demon. Because we can just go with God, because that's what it's referring to anyway. And we know that God is a person. So let's just go with God. Yeah. All right. And let's go ahead and type in that word and. And we know that word and is actually in or inside or interior. But since we're describing a person, we're going to just say, because it's saying God, we're just going to say within. Well, that's what I'm going to say within. Yeah, and that's the word and then we got the again. Now, this the right here is referring to this God right here, the God within. So it's not going to be the same the as the minister or the age or the representation of the age of man or whatever, the age of the old age. It's going to represent something else. It's still the, but this is how you find it. All right, because the context of this story is not the same. So, definite article late. Now, we already read this. So let's look at that, because it's saying see that. So we checked out that. And now we're going to go through that, which is, we already read that, so that, after that. And that is I am, which is supposedly be the creator. So let's go into that. And let's find out if we can decipher what we want. We know it's element making ordinal numbers, fourth and all that stuff. We don't think is that so old of such an age. And we don't think it's, well, I don't know if we think it's this. Suffix forming nouns of actions, state or quality from verbs or adjectives, right? Such as depth, strength, truth. We know we're looking for the truth. We know that something has to, somebody is saying something about religion, and usually religion is supposed to be true. So let's look into that. And then we have liberty and liber and free, right? From the Pi word ita, asterisk dash ita, especially after H as height. So we know we're looking for these words, but these aren't Pi words. These words right here, the TH did not originate from them. These words originated from the TH. So the TH represents, especially in these words right here, along with the meaning, liberty and free. Right? There's no TH in any of these, but how it came to that meaning is because of the context of the word, how many times it can be used in different ways. So let's look at this. So we have religious order, so old, of such an age, God within, and then if we use it, free, that's what we're going to use. All right. Now, you got a word that's made up of two words, lesser and Well, we already talked about the how it goes better and elder. Well, let's look at less. Now, less, which means least or less, smaller, fewer, right? Soft, gentler, or gentle, comparative suffix from the first. Okay, so let's look at this. From the first, the adverb has been used often with negatives, none, the less, much less, still more undesirable, is from 1630s. Formerly also. So still more undesirable is also the same as younger, as a translation from minor, a sense now obsolete except in James the Lesser, used as a comparative of little, but not related to it. So it's not related to little, so we're not going to even go there. But younger, right, has the ER in it, as well as the ER at the end of lesser is related to elders. So almost like on the opposing sides of things. So we're talking about religious order, so old, of such an age, God within, free what? Free what? Yeah. Within free what? Because now we're on lesser. Within free younger. Yeah, I think we'll go there. Yeah, we'll go there. Free younger. All right. Now we're at light again. Now, is this the light for trifling, quick, agile, easy to do, lightly constructed? Or is this the light for revealing? Because I think this is the light for revealing. Yeah, that which makes things visible. Religious order, so old, of such an age, God within, free young, that which makes things visible. Yeah. So let's go ahead and use that. Yeah, that's going to probably be it for that sentence. Because we're right back at 2. We know that too, right? That two can end this. And then we start back up with rule again. All right? Start back up rule. And then the night. So let's get rule again out here. There we go. New sentence. All right. Rule. The. Now, is this the minister? Or is this the so old of such age? Well, what we're looking at right now, we're looking at the religious order. So it might be so old of such age. So let's go ahead and get that done in there. Yep. And then we have night. So let's go ahead and jump in there with the night. It's not going to be night like darkness. Late Old English night, West Saxon night, Anglian night, the dark part of the day. The night is as a unit of time. Now they always say a unit of time. Darkness, also absence of spiritual illumination, moral darkness, ignorance, from the Proto-Germanic. And I'm going to go with, it's between these two right here, absence of spiritual illumination, moral darkness. I'm going to say 3, and ignorance. I'm going to use all 3 of those. Yeah. So religious order is so old of such an age, absence of spiritual illumination, moral darkness, ignorance. Okay. And that's the end. And then, and he made the stars. Well, we know that we're going to have to start off another one with and. Yeah. So since he's talking about, since we're talking about the sky, we know that the sky is inside something, right? So where's my inside at? Here we go. And see, this is easy, man, because people don't even realize that these words mean something totally different. You can get a totally different message from this shit. All right? He. Now, I haven't done the word he yet, I don't think. But let's do it. Pronoun, Old English he. Pronoun of third person. See, paradigm of Old English third person pronoun low. From Proto-Germanic high. And see, we think he is being the male species, but they have other meanings for it. So Old Germanic variant of the root word ko, the, this here as opposed to that there, root, and thus the source of the third person pronouns in Old English. The feminine heo was replaced in early mid-English by forms from other stems. See she. All right, English neuter kit to make English neuter hit to make modern it. All right, so let's check out this root word. So he would be this. All right? Also, that person on this side in citra, adverb, and then this, and then Gothic higher, which means hither. So we could excuse me. First, let's look at this. Say religious order so old of such an age, absence of spiritual illumination, moral darkness, ignorance, inside. Yep, inside. Inside this. Inside this. All right. So he is actually this. That's what it means. This. Well, that's what I'm saying it means in this context. Yeah. Yeah. Damn. All right. Now, let's look at the word made. Because the word made can refer back to what it was earlier. Artificially produced, formed independently of nature. And that's what I'm going to go with, formed independently of nature. All right. And now this "the" is not going to refer to the same thing that I just put there. All right, form independently of natural development. Religious order so old of such an age, absent of spiritual illumination, moral darkness, ignorance, inside this, formed independently of natural development. Okay. Then we have the word "the" again. And that word "the," I'm going to use the free word. That free. All right. Stars as well. Now let's look up the word star. Look at that word star. All right. Here we go. Star. Proto-Germanic, Free Asian, then Pyru stir. Astrological sense of influence of planets and zodiacs on human affairs is according from mid-13th century. Hence, person's fate is figured in the stars. So we're right where we're supposed to be. It's not off right now. Yep. Stars as a ranking of quality of hotels, restaurants, etc. are attested from 1886, originally the Baedeker Guides. Sticker stars as rewards for good students are recorded from 1970s. Brass stars as a police badge is recorded from 1859, New York City. Star cluster is from 1870, and star stars or sea stars when one is hit hard on the head is from 1839. So we didn't get too much there. Let's look at the next one. 1590s, to suffix a star or asterisk to affix a star or asterisk to. From star noun, right? They're always referring back to one another. Set with stars, meaning perform the lead part of actors, singers, etc. I think this is it. Perform the lead part. Yeah. All right. Form independently of natural development. Free what? Free or what? Free to perform the lead part. Yep. It's falling into place. Now we're working on as. AS, not ASS. Right? As, adjective, conjunction, pronoun. Worn down from the old, quite so, hollow. Yep. Fully established by 14th century, equivalent to so. Let's look. Excuse me. Let's look at what it says. Formed independently of nature, development, free perform the lead part. The lead part. Lead part. Worn down, literally, also. Let's see, also. Okay. Hold on, I want to show you guys what I did. Yeah, let's go to also. English, just as, even as if, so as, likewise. Contraction of Igwa from all together. Let's go. Just replaces all. Replaces E. To increase, lengthen. North England and East Midlands variant of Ekin from Old English. Okay. To increase. Probably from EACA. And increase. Yeah. Check that out. To increase, it forms all a part of the auction. Okay. It is the hypothetical source of evidence for its existence. It is provided by Sanskrit, the Jas, strength, cause to grow, Lithuanian, agut, to grow. All right. Let's look at what we're talking about. Form independently of natural development. Free, perform, leadership, the lead part. Lead part. The lead part. Let me finish this one up, and then I'm gonna call it a day, man, because shit, I'm tired. Yep. And we're looking at ass. Free perform the lead part. Idiomatic. You know that. Idiom. All right, let me show you what I did. Okay, so let's go back. So as to also, not to all, but to so. And then we know that in a way, in this way, in such a manner that, also to that extent, as, so as, consequently, and therefore, are purely intensive. All right. So formally independent, a natural development, free, perform the lead part, and in such a manner that could be the word right there, the words that we can use from it. Also, to that extent, you can use that. I think I'm gonna go with that. All right. And then well. Let's do well real quick. All right, now let's go to the top. In a satisfactory manner, abundantly, very, very much indeed, to be sure, with good reason, nearly, for the most part. All right, pi root of well, to wish, and to will. Source also in Sanskrit, prati, varam, at will. Old church, here we go. We on something now with the old church. Anytime they start talking about church flat out, that's when I start paying attention. Well could mean better, to wish, to will, to wish, and let's see what this says for verb. To spring, rise, gush, to boil, bubble up, to rise. And it always refers to the next one. To turn, revolve, on notions of rolling or bubbling water. Hole dug for water, spring of water fountain. So we know that this is not talking about made the stars as well. We know it's not as well, like saying a continuation. Okay, good. I think this means like a hole dug or something. Yeah, I think this is a hole dug, but not that way. It says in reference to a river. See right here? It says to boil, bubble up, rise, in reference to a river. And I think that has a connection to the context of this sentence. See, formed independently of natural development. And that's a river. Rivers are formed independently of natural development. Man-made rivers are. We think that they're not because they tell us this shit about corrosion and erosion and, you know, floods and all that shit. But man, that's a story and that shit's fabricated. So formed independently of natural development, free to perform the lead part, to that extent, rise, in reference to a river. All right, and that's verse 16. Verse 16 from the Bible says, God made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day and the lesser night to rule the night. And he made the stars as well. Well, through translation, through the decoding, because I'm a decoding beast, this is what verse 16 means. God-like person, artificially produced, a depth of 2 fathoms, which is 12 feet. Great-grandfather, likely constructed, minister, kinship, 1 degree further removed, lightly constructed, easy to do, trifle quickly and agile, religious order so old of such an age, God within free, younger, that which makes things visible. Religious order so old of such an age, absence of spiritual illumination, moral darkness, ignorant inside this, formed independently of nature, of natural development, free to perform the lead part to that extent rise in reference to a river. So in other words, these motherfuckers artificially created rivers 12 feet in depth. That's what they did in this. That's verse 16 of Genesis. Artificially created the river, right? And I bet you they talking about the rivers, those 4 rivers that they say was in the Garden of Eden. Yeah. Which a lot of people now y'all artificial waterways, and they've been doing this because there's nobody to stop them. You know, when someone says they have permission to do something, that means somebody gave it to them. And if you weren't there to hear the permission being given, then you might not have understood how they acquired their permission. And that's what the Bible is about. That's what it's telling us. It's telling us this is how they did it. And I want to show you guys something real quick. So we can look at this. Where I have my background. Yeah, I took it off my background. And I don't know why I took it off the background, because now I can't find it. But it's a picture. You know what? I don't need the picture. Let me go ahead and do this real quick. Yeah. Go ahead and do this real quick so I can show y'all what I'm talking about. This is the so-called river that they were supposedly, this is what I was talking about the 4 rivers. And I think in that scripture, they're talking about that river being created. God-like person, artificially produced, a depth of 2 fathoms, it's like 12 feet. And great-grandfather lightly constructed. They lightly constructed this shit, meaning it was done quickly, hasty, right? And the same person, second removed, like this person's relative, lightly constructed, easy to do. This is the same thing they talking about it. Now they saying who did it, right? Religious order, so old of such an age, God would free younger, that which makes things visible. All right. So religious, so old of such an age, the truth will be revealed to the younger ones. All right. Religious order, so old of such an age, absent of spiritual illumination, moral darkness, ignorance. It's not absent of it. I think this absent would make it seem like they are absent of spiritual illumination. All right? They're not absent of moral darkness or ignorance. And who are they talking about in this portion right here? They're talking about the younger. All right? It says formed independently of natural development, free, perform a lead part, or free, meaning like whoever did this was free to do it, and they did it like they the ones were doing it themselves. Perform the lead part. To that extent, rise in reference to a river. So this part right here is almost like saying, find the truth. Rise in the reference to a river. This part right here, perform the lead part. To that extent, rise like a river. Meaning like get fucking, get mad, motherfucker. This is what they did. Yeah, they were free to do it. And see, some of these are going to be written and interpreted in the right place. Sometimes they go like this and like that, but you get the gist of it. You know what I'm saying? This is the precepts of it. This is the precepts. It's still the meaning of the word. Form independent of natural development. Perform the lead part. Free to that extent. Rise in reference to a river. Like, stand up for yourself, man. That's exactly what verse 16 is saying. So, I know that was long. It's been 3 hours and we only did 2 verses, but that's how this thing goes, man. At least we ain't gotta redo it because I got it already written down. So when I get ready to put this in ebook form, I got all of these to do it with. We're only on right now verse 17. We just did verse 16. So we got a long way to go. And if you liking this, just stay tuned, man, because I'm going to keep on doing it. But look, don't trust nobody. Do your due diligence. Do your own research. These are just tools for your toolbox. Know what you're talking about. Because if you don't have the gift of research, you don't have the knowledge of understanding. I said something like that yesterday too, so I'm just trying to keep it going. But hey, thanks for showing up, guys. Salutes to you, and until next time, out.